does your research then inform practice?
I very much want it to do, and part of that is just when I was doing my field work for my doctorate, I would be talking with journalists about work. So asking questions, I think, and having a bit of a conversation with them helps them to think about their own practices anyway, and talking with sources about how they understand how journalism works. They learn things from that. I'll talk to them about things that I've experienced, and they learn a bit about how they can approach journalists to share stories, for example. But more so now with Cardiff, I've been doing some work, for example, with the National Union of Journalists here in Wales. We organized a workshop just in November that was looking at training, well, that precise thing, training journalists on how to understand religion better and report religion better, and training representatives from religious communities about how they could understand what journalists are looking for, what they need, and how they work. So that was a very fruitful workshop we did back in November, and we'll be repeating it in May at BBC Radio Wales, which would be really nice to, again, just bring people together and look more closely at a subject which I think is really important, but is kind of taken for granted in journalistic circles.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say that sounds like it would be really, really useful. Particularly, I mean, we were talking earlier on in the show with another guest of ours who's in the studio, Afaq, about the whole issue of reporting issues around hate crime, and that in times where particular communities are seen to be very negative, that it's one of those things where we need positive roads forward where we can share the good stories, or where we have a means of redress when negative stories are shared where they're not actually deemed to be accurate. So,
I think above all, I think trust is what's really important.
Sure.
And that helps communities ride through times when stories can get a little bit negative. There's some hard things to report on. Journalists report on hard things all over the place. But if you have relationships of trust built in, you can help to get the best information out in all circumstances and understand the practices. And I think that's really what's important. That's where I think that work still needs to be done, especially on part of journalism, is to take Muslim community seriously, to invest in relationships the way they invest in relationships in other fields. It's important, obviously, if you're going to talk about local politics or national politics, you get to know the people who are the players. Religion's such a big story, but people think that they don't need to invest in it in the same way.